Okay, this is just a random video I wanted to do just because when I was at work a few days ago, I put out a poll because I was kind of bored. It was just some random thought I had, and I figured, fuck it. I was like, but I put a poll out to say who has the worst idiot, Ed, Edd and Eddy, or the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Unfortunately, I wasn't allowed to vote in this poll because I made it. Um, and I decided I'd do a video talking about this now. If you are looking at this and you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll give a brief summary. The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and Ed, Edd and Eddy. And if there's no one who knows this, I will be surprised, but also not surprised. I guess I don't know. I don't know anymore. These were two shows that came out in the. I mean, you mainly would see it in the early 2000s, but I could swear one of them came out in the last bit of the 1990s, like 1999, but I might be wrong there. Um, Now, one, Ed and Eddy is set in a cul-de-sac, um, for the most part, in a place called Peach Creek. And it follows the adventures of basically three boys. All of them are basically an Ed. One's named, I mean, one is spelled with two D's, one's spelled with one D, and one is just spelled as Eddy. But I think they're all named Edward, but they all use the shorter version. And the whole point of that show is that they're trying to pull off scams or just make money so they can buy their favorite candy, Jawbreakers. I'm not going to lie, that's a scary name for a candy. If someone asked me if I wanted a Jawbreaker, I would probably at least think twice about it for once. And all the other kids in the cul-de-sac are also part of the show, obviously. Shovel Chin Kevin is a dipshit. Fuck him. He's the typical jock asshole. Fuck him. Except for in the movie, he kind of redeems himself for me. So anyway, that's the show. Or that's it. The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy was a show about two kids, a boy and a girl named Billy and Mandy, obviously. And they basically have the Grim Reaper as their, I almost want to say slave. But basically, he made a bet with them because he came to get the hamster. They wouldn't let him. And the bet was that if he lost, he would be their best friend forever. Well, he lost. And now he's stuck with them in what I can only describe as his own version of hell. Now, as the video title would suggest, Billy and Ed are the dumber ones. Ed he's more of a lovable idiot, like he's a lovable loaf. A big lug. And then there's Billy. He is a special kind of stupid that I'll get into next. So that is the introduction. And for the record, I'm kind of sad these shows never crossed over. Like the closest you got was like there was a crossover between Billy and Mandy, or the Grim Adventures, and the Codename Kids Next Door. And then they popped up briefly. That's because Billy needed help and he was calling, and he thought they would help. He was like, "What do you mean you don't have money? Call someone else. Call the kids next door. We don't do charity work. Bye." And honestly, I kind of remember all these shows, like, even though they had different, like, setting names, it almost seemed like they were in the same universe, mostly because they were either in a town or a city. And also, when I was a kid, they had these little ad commercials that showed the characters interacting, like maybe trying to get into a theater, or you would see Mandy seen on a monorail with Raven from Teen Titans, not Teen Titans Go. And they're saying nothing. Then the train stops and Mandy gets up and says, "Nice talking to you." So maybe there was the potential there, maybe there wasn't. The only reason I can think for why these two shows didn't cross over is they were two different styles of shows. Billy and Mandy is more based in supernatural stuff. Ed and Eddy's more grounded. That may have been the main thing that was making it impossible for these shows to work fully. Well, maybe. Because I know the Grim Adventures would still made one other reference to Codename Kids Next Door afterwards with Big Boogie Adventures. The difference between the two shows, though, is Billy and Mandy got, I think, 2 movies. There was Big Boogie Adventure and Revenge of the Spider Queen. I don't think Ed and Eddy got more than one movie. And honestly, I only learned about that movie the day it was airing. I lucked out there. But anyway, so yeah, I wanted to just talk do a video talking about like why I think talking about these two characters, why they are respectively kind of a threat to the existence of reality sometimes. Although one certainly more than the other. Like it's a good thing they're dumb because I would hate to see a reality where these two have super intellect. It's basically like the joke about movie Bob. Thank God he had movies to bitch about. Imagine if this man became a dictator. Oh God, that's nightmare fuel. Anyway, so on to the video. Now, to begin this, we'll start with Ed because I loved Ed and Eddy growing up. It was one of my favorite shows and still is, so I figured, let favoritism shine here. Ed is, as I said, the show he is in is more grounded. Whenever there's fuck-uppery from him, it's usually his stupidity. Like, he doesn't know when to shut his mouth. Like, he has the biggest fucking mouth sometimes. Even Eddy gets mad at him for this. Like, you have the biggest mouth sometimes. And he says lots of dumb things, says things that make no sense. And sometimes he does things that shouldn't be possible, like flying with his arms, even though he's not a bird. But here's the kicker. Whenever he does something, like the one time he really showed what a menace he can be, I should know two, technically. One was the fact he had a pebble in his shoe that made him really fucking grumpy. The other one was a case of his imagination got the better of him, and he went on a terrorizing rampage, grabbing all the kids that weren't his buddies, taking them to his room, because he lives in the lower floor of his house, and basically chewing on steel, spitting on the kids, and sticking them to the wall. And I feel like this was a reference to something. Don't know what. It would not surprise me. Ed is a horror nut. If you want an idea of how bad he is about it, in the Halloween special, the Boo Ha Ha, the reason why he acts up in this one is before they went trick-or-treating to look for Spookyville, he was watching a shitload of horror films. One of them also, I think, was a reference to Lupo the Butcher. And and watching all these films just back to back to back made him slightly lose touch with reality. The same was the case when he was dressed up as a monster because the ads thought they could use this to make money, and Double D was mainly doing it because Eddy was yelling at him. Because he wrecks everything, because he's, I guess you could say he's like Hercules in like the Disney film. Like he destroys things sometimes without even trying. Like he could almost fumble around and probably bring down half a city if he wasn't careful. So that's Ed. But I would say his crime, well, maybe I should say this for later, but a lot of the menace he has comes down to him causing damage himself. Like, remember when I said he had a pebble in his shoe and it made him cranky? At one point he snapped and starts tearing up a playground. Like, throws everything, and then, So he is capable of being destructive just on his own. He doesn't need some supernatural entity to help him be destructive. He does it well on his own. Help need not apply. So on to Billy. Billy, he is... Okay, I'm going to level with y'all. I think Billy is kind of the scarier one of these two because, well, Ed is destructive on his own. Billy is a bit like... Actually, kind of like Jar Jar Binks. Like, if someone asked... One time I think someone asked if there was a fight between Jar Jar Binks and Finn from Star Wars, who would win? I would be like... I think Weaponized Nerdrich had the best description. Finn would be trying to shoot him, and basically Jar Jar would be fumbling about and accidentally cause a chain reaction that takes out Finn. That's kind of Billy. The difference is, while Jar Jar is trying to do things, it's his intent to still help. Well, my memory's a little fuzzy here, so you'll have to forgive me. But with Billy, it's more like he just does something because he feels like it. Like, if Grim tells him, stay out of my trunk, because that's where he keeps all this good shit. As soon as he leaves, Billy just goes right to the trunk. And it's not like he's like... It's not even like he's malicious. It's just he's an idiot. Again, these are two idiots. And usually when Billy goes rifling through Grim's trunk, a lot of bad shit is to ensue. Let me see. There was the time he accidentally became an avatar for Yogg or Yogg-Sothoth. There was that time he tried to use a phone because he got sick of caller ID, ruining his ability to prank call people, and he ended up becoming a Cthulhu's bitch, I guess, because he was like helping ruin things through the phone for Cthulhu. And it's even funnier to look back now because back then I had no idea who the fuck Cthulhu was. On Halloween, he decides he wants to just dress up as Grimm, so he wears a hooded jacket, and he carries Grimm's scythe with him. And then a man named Jack-O-Lantern, no relation to the Jack-O-Lantern legend associated with that explains Jack-O-Lanterns as a whole, that ends with him having to have a turnip with a hellfire ember in it. He gets a hold of it, and he starts wreaking havoc with it as revenge for Grimm permanently cutting off his head. Because once the scythe cuts off your head, you can never put it back on. That's what almost happened to Grimm, actually. The only reason why this didn't result in the end of the world, as with all things, is because Mandy and Grimm had to try and undo his mess. And the difference being with Jack-O-Lantern was that was a case of Mandy tried to, but Jack was not stupid. The only reason why it worked in their favor was because Billy's friend Erwin, who is a massive simp, the most pathetic of simps I knew as a kid. Also kind of a dick in some cases. Like, you know that the beta male type, the kind who like they tear down weaker people to feel good, that he could be like that at least on one or two occasions. He fumbles in here, dressed as a knight, and all the pranks they were going to use on Jack, or Mandy had planned for Jack, he falls victim to. And all of Jack's pumpkin army, they laugh themselves to death. Jack doesn't. Grimm decides, you know what, you've outstayed your welcome. Have fun in the afterlife. And so with Billy, like, yeah, he causes lots of havoc. Like, I will bet, actually, no, it is a case of like 90% of the time when something bad goes down in Ennsville, he's at fault. Hell, I'm pretty sure there was a video game where he caused some fuck-uppery, and in the end, it was revealed he was responsible, and I think everyone was ready to beat the crap out of him. So, yeah. Now then, to what I've been holding back on. I would say where these two idiots differ in how... What makes one definitely worse than the other to me, at least, is... At least with Ed, you could say when he does some damage, he's doing it himself. And the damage is limited to what he can do with his body and what he can get his hands on. And also how much of reality he loses touch with because of his overactive imagination. Like, seriously, this man is like the Gnostics. He would make a good writer of fiction if you get his creativity under wraps or in control. Then there's Billy. He has nearly caused, let me see. One time he nearly caused a zombie outbreak to... Actually, no, he did cause one by making brownies. Brownies. I feel that bears repeating, or that warrants a repeat. There's Yogg. Hell, in that case, the only reason they were able to undo it is because when they tried to throw the book back into the vortex to end it, Billy ate it because at this point he was evil and corrupted. So Mandy's like, well, screw it, bye, Billy. And she throws him into the vortex, like pushes him down into it. And then he gets kicked back out because... And he's like, they didn't want me. And I believe Haas Delgado, I can only assume their version of Ash Williams, was like, I guess that makes you a total loser. And they all laugh. And then Billy goes like, yeah, I am a loser. There's this. Again, Cthulhu. He nearly undid the world with this. The only time he has not caused a major event to nearly end the world, to my knowledge, is the Spider Queen. That was technically Grimm's fault. And if you want to get technical, that's also the Boogeyman's fault. Actually, no. The fault mainly goes to Boogie because he caused her to think that Grimm was basically backstabbing her. He got mad and attacked him. And everyone voted for him, and she just thought he cheated. So technically, Boogie is at fault there. And then... But anyway, so yeah. Billy, he is the kind of guy who... The damage he causes involves eldritch abominations beyond our mortal kin. Again, I go back to Cthulhu and Yogg's stuff. Admittedly, my fan boner for Lovecraftian stuff is showing here, but fuck it. Um, he so he caused the end of the world on a number of dumb ways that is beyond anything I think Ed could ever hope to do if he was at his most evil and having a wet dream. Um, the damage Billy does is substantially worse in my eyes. Uh, Ed, at the very least, you can say he can be calmed down eventually, or if you help him get in touch with that, or you just have to suffer through his crazy, create his imagination getting the better of him for a bit. Or if it's a case of where he was dressed up as a monster, all you have to do is take the mask off him and he goes back to normal, apparently. Unless, of course, you have an angry mob coming after you. Then, in that case, kick him to the ground and let the mob have him and then run for your lives. It's like outrunning a bear. I don't have to outrun the bear, I just have to outrun you. Or maybe not. Yeah, no, again, Ed is a lovable lug. He's not a bad... He's very likable. Billy, on the other hand, oh, no. If Saving My Skin meant handed him over to some abomination... Oh, yeah, no, have Billy. Have Billy. He is a special breed of stupid who causes damage I cannot even fathom sometimes. At one time, they tried to get Mandy to smile, and it undid the universe at the most subatomic level. Well, anyway. And here's the worst part. It's kind of like with Neil the Seal. He's just a kid right now. I'm scared to see what would happen if he was an adult. Actually, it'd probably be more or less the same, only he has less energy. So that's the main difference I see. And yeah. So that's the video. If you are a fan of these shows and you have your own input you want to give on why you think I'm wrong, or I don't know, you think there's another aspect to why Billy is worse than Ed, I guess leave it in the comments or whatever. There was one thing I forgot to add at the last one. Now I'm blanking on it. But yeah, these were two great shows. They made my childhood, at the very least, memorable. It had Billy and Mandy was just dark, very, very dark. It would sometimes have references I would never see coming. Like there was the one episode where Fred Flintstone showed up. Yeah, I can never watch the Flintstones again without remembering that cartoon. Son of a bitch. It could be dark. It could be fourth wall breaking. Then again, so could Ed and Eddy, but again, it was not as overt. I don't know. It wasn't that full on. Like, you didn't have people you didn't have, like, Mandy one time said, like, oh, great, another animal episode. Yeah, I'm leaving this. And she just walks off stage. And Billy's like, Grim, what do I do? She left. Just go on without me. Keep going. Okay. With Ed and Eddy, you would have something like they have to transition to a next scene, and as they're leaving, Ed's like, fade sequence and turn to black. That was it. Like, fun shows. I'm still kind of sad I never saw a crossover of it, and I have no idea if we'll ever see anything like that now, because I think the creator has... I think anyone who's worked on it, who's expressed interest in going back to do more, he's like, no. I honestly don't think he should, because I wouldn't trust Cartoon Network not to screw it up. And also, he technically has creative control, to my knowledge, because he made this on a dare. Not only that, Cartoon Network, he went to Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon for creative control, and only Cartoon Network would give it to him. And Billy and Mandy, I have no idea. Last I heard, I think some people at Cartoon Network tried to blame him for something. I don't know what. I don't remember. But yeah, fun shows. If you ever just need to, like, watch something from not now, I'm not sure how different it would be from what we got now, but I guess the difference would be that it doesn't feel like you're being treated like you're a retard. Then I guess check them out. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, that's the video. Have a nice day. No, that's all I can really think to say. Actually, you know, ahead. Bye bye.